Boss bitch, for sure. Listen to the Mind of an Aquarius Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're gonna get into, a nice little fun way of how to look at your astrological houses. You know what I'm saying? Now, let me actually get to it because last video, I couldn't even get, I was just happy to motherfucking talk. I couldn't even motherfucking breathe that much for the past couple of days. So it's like, I feel like every day is my motherfucking last. So, I'm going all out in this motherfucker, but for the most part, even if I ain't 100%. But let's talk about these motherfucking astrological houses. Now, like I was saying before, you could look at it like a mansion, you could look at it like motherfucking, well, however you want to look at these motherfuckers, this is your each area of life. This is your space and location. So let's break down the actual houses first. What does each house represent? Now, the first house represents personality, personal issues, affairs. You know what I'm saying? So that's be the personal people, places, and things that's in your life. The second house represents your values, like in your value system, your volume. You know what I'm saying? What you have to offer to the world, whether that's a gift, talent, or a trait. The house that you plant seeds in and build your self-esteem, and it's the people, places, and things that you value, whether it's a job or material or whatever like that. Third house is your surroundings, and all things that's in your close proximities, and all things that you're familiar with, whether that's a person, place, or thing, gift, talent, or trait. Fourth house represents privacy, home, family, domestic issues, wherever you gain emotional stability amongst yourself, whether that's a relative house, your own home, or friend house. You see what I'm saying? So that would be the fourth house too, is connectiveness. Foundation as far as your emotional stability. Fifth house represents the expression house and your creative mechanisms and how the things you're creatively into and how you creatively express yourself. The house of entertainment and how you have fun and enjoy yourself. And I like to say the house of three forms of entertainment: how you entertain, the things you choose to entertain, and the things you're entertained by. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people choose to entertain things that they're not naturally entertained by because they dumb and they ain't train their subconscious mind to block out certain dumb things and other people's ideas about them. But for the most part, that goes into another area. Sixth house represents the house of work, or whatever you're working on, health, routine, scheduling, things that you do on a day-to-day basis, and the ability for you to criticize and look at the details of things, and your ability to work hard and shit, and look at the details and criticize the shit that you may need to perfectly work for yourself, because things ain't nothing perfect, but things could be perfectly for you. You need to understand that. Seventh house. Seventh house represents your relationships on all sorts. So if you had a Titanic and that was a ship, now everybody you aligned on that ship is gonna some gonna support, some gonna fuck it up, some gonna want to be a captain and lead it off to a dam, some gonna lead it into a promised land, some may lead it off a cliff. You need to pay attention who's on your motherfucking relationship. So for the most part, that could be your co-workers, business, mates, family, siblings, whatever on that such. And it's also the house of how you relate to people, places, and things. So either even your own natural state of how you relate to people, places, and things, and how others relate to you, basically from your energy. Eighth house, all things in the dark. So things that intrigue a person to want to do some detective work, some investigation work, to bring what was in the dark to the light. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, this deals with secrets, cheating, lies, manipulation, life, death, sex, greed, jealousy, manipulation, motivation, power and control, transformation. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of little positive in there from time to time, but it's everything that's in the dark. So, it's beneath the surface. So it's even astrology, occult, and mysticism. Now, when I say mysticism, that's just communicating with the unknown, non-verbally. So you could communicate with someone emotionally, just connecting with them, showing concern and discernment. When I say occult, that's just doing things behind closed doors. You have people doing that on a much larger magnitude than others. Who cares? It's still the same thing. You could take the energy of it also. Get a whole group of motherfuckers and start the purge. It's like, no, I don't want people to do that. I'm not leading people on to doing anything like that in that nature. Now, for the most part, even when we want to talk about life and death, that's just transformation. Sex, that's just the joining of two energies to create another energy. Now, for the most part, that's the blending to make a sextile between the 8th and the 6th house. So 6 is actually sex, but you need to work on that. And once you work on the indulging of it, the deeper you get with working on something, it ties into sex and manifests in that way anyway in some way, shape, or form. So why not it be physically after a while when it's being between the male and the female? You see what I'm saying? So that's where we get back to the sextile of it, of the alignment of the eighth house. Ninth house represents higher learning. So ninth house is like the actual flashlight that you found in the eighth house. You see what I'm saying? So you looking around in the dark in the eighth house and you found the flashlight, beep, then you automatically in the ninth house. So this is higher education, higher learning, meaning, reasonings, wisdom, knowledge, broad philosophical points of views of looking at the world, spirituality, and God. So keep that in mind also. We also got long distance travel, internally and externally. Externally could be physically in the yang realm. Internally could be subconsciously. Keep that in mind. It's also meanings and reasonings and wisdom and knowledge. 10th house. 10th house is what you're known for and how you're seen. You know what I'm saying? And what ultimately can become your career, your status, your popularity level, and your ability to get from point A to point B and gain structure in your life, and for everyone to see how you have gained structure in your life. So that's actually the 10th house. 11th house. All things are the 3rd and the 7th house on a broader level. So these are the air houses. The 1st, 5th, and the 9th house are the fire, spiritual houses. More of the self-awareness, how you collectively get aware of yourself. The 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th are the earth houses, how you gain stability and manifest what you're creating for yourself to actually see it to appear to be solid. The 3rd, so that's the earth houses, the 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th. The air houses are the 3rd and the 7th and the 11th. So these are the communications houses, the social awareness houses, the ability to socially communicate or to align or to analyze and think about the things that you have manifested from the earth houses, from the creations of the fire houses. Then you have the 4th, 8th, and the 12th houses, which are the water houses, which you are able to subconsciously observe and soak in and submerge yourself into that creation and actually experience it, actually feel it, actually be a realm, a world, a bubble now that you can actually soak into. But for the most part, let's get back into the 11th house. So it's all things of the 3rd and the 7th house on a broader level. So it's the social awareness house. So it's how you conduct yourself in the public arena. And you have taught yourself how to do that throughout your life based upon the unknown and the unfamiliar. Now, the unfamiliar are things that can be familiar, but you are not with these things on a 24/7 basis, which are family, friends, associates, things you are associated with, the location of these things, of these places, how you organize in organizations, and things you are associated with. Now, for the most part, the unknown. Now, the unknown are things that can be known, but there's new things being discovered every day. So the unknown is also would be attached to the 11th house, which I like to call science, astrology, occult, mysticism, technology. All things that fall under technology, which would be phones, gadgets, cameras, social media, text messaging, the ways of communicating of the world, in general. So for the most part, this is the 11th house. Then you got the 12th house. This is the subconscious, all things that tap you into the subconscious realm. So it's the collective conscious also, so because that taps you into the subconscious, anything you could get connected to. So the things in this realm that you created yourself to be in, that you separated yourself from another to be in, you still have to find energy signatures to connect to. So this is why if you have a lot of planets in the 12th house, you might be very into music, art, dreamy things, cartoons, spirituality, supernatural shows and sci-fi things, high metaphysics, because for the most part you're trying to find something to connect to in this realm that may not necessarily, that can kind of give you representations of everything is not attached to this realm, so it can kind of give you a comfortability of, okay, I may not necessarily be here. But that's if you just have a lot of planets in the 12th house, or heavy Piscean energies, or Jupiterian or Neptunian energies for the most part. But let's not go too far into that. In general, the 12th house represents the subconscious realm. So it's all things that tap you into the subconscious. So it's dealing with your dreams, illusions, creativity, imagination, and the superficial and supernatural, and the spiritual. So now that we broke down the houses, right? Now this is a good aspect and a good way to look at the houses, right? Because for the most part, when we break down the houses is the space and locations, which is the 360 wheel that we are in. So the stars actually gets created and manifested out of these frequency vibrations that's resonating within these spaces. You see what I'm saying? In these group of spirits that's analyzing with each other and sexing to create shapes and forms and gas, bacterias and lights and stars and fluids and oceans and gas, however y'all want to call it and shit. But for the most part, that's where you start to get the constellations and things of that nature. So the first house in general created the star constellation of Aries. The second house in general created the star constellation of Taurus. The third house in general created the star constellation of, you know what I'm saying, Gemini. And this is a whole nother backstory that I got to get into for all my astrologers out there, you know what I'm saying, so we can all get on one page and start to understand things from, so you can start to see the astrological wheel before y'all start just tying, because y'all know how y'all tie the Aries constellation to, like, back when astronomy and astrology was at one. So at 0 degrees Aries, that was actually the beginning of the equinox and the spring solstice, but also it was the beginning of Aries constellation. And then somewhere down the line, the Aries constellation, as the stars, the physical stars that got manifested out of the first house itself, started to travel, and then we started to get confused between astronomy and astrology. We're conflating the two. We're starting natal readings and things of that nature. We're saying a person is one thing, where the astrological stars isn't actually in that space anymore. It's just a big old fuck in the astrology world. So if you're not deep into the astrology world like that, don't even worry about what the fuck I was just talking about right there. But for the most part, I'm getting everybody back on page. Now, as far as this Aries itself, Aries, the star constellation, and the way that they move and how they moving right now, regardless of where they at right now, they're giving that influence through that space and location. So for the most part, let's say if you was a Taurus right now, you would catch a little bit of this influence. See what I'm saying? So Aries star constellation, those group of stars represent the I am. You know what I'm saying? So like I am. So all things that's represented I am. You know where that come from. Taurus represent I have. I have. Gemini, I think. I think. Cancer, I feel. I feel. Leo, I will. You know what I'm saying? So you will in existence. So you got the willpower. You know what I'm saying? Like you like to will it in. You know. It will shine. Virgo, I analyze. Libra, I balance. Scorpio, I desire. I desire. Sagittarius, I see. Yeah, I see, because it's fire. I see. Capricorn, we know it's earth. So remember, I use. Aquarius, I know. Pisces, I believe. So these are like the root common statements you can make as being an astrological, one of these astrological signs. I know y'all probably hear me say I am a lot of shit. You see what I'm saying? So if you hear a person say I am a lot, take into consideration that their sun, moon, or ascendant may be Aries. You hear a person say I know a lot, take into consideration that their sun, moon, ascendant may be Aquarius. You hear somebody say I will a lot, they will do something, take into consideration that they sun, moon, or ascendant may be Leo. You see what I'm saying? You hear a person say I analyze a lot, I think, you know what I'm saying, I analyze, take into consideration that they sun, moon, or ascendant may be Virgo. So now here's a fun way how to look at the astrological houses, because now that you know the houses and the astrological signs that manifested out of it, let's bring these two together. So for the most part, let's say your first house, right? Let's say your first house is, let's switch it all the way around. Let's say your first house is Libra, right? So if you know Libra means I balance, what does the first house represents? Personality, personal issues and affairs. And in a smaller degree, since it created Aries, you could say it represents the I am house also. So for the most part, if you got Libra first house, this is the house you balance. You balance your personality. You balance your personality with other people's personalities. You balance your personal issues with other people's personal issues. You balance your personal affairs with other people's personal affairs. So your second house will be Scorpio. So this will be the things you desire. You know what I'm saying? You desire the shit that you value. the people, places, and things in the material you may indulge into value. Material, oh shit, money, oh shit. Or what you have to offer to the world. Or where you like to plant seeds and build your self-esteem. You desire that. You know what I'm saying? Your third house. Your third house is going to be Sagittarius. So your third house is your surroundings and all things in your close proximities and all things you're familiar with. This is going to be the house you see shit. You see shit. So a lot of times you're going to see shit that you wish you ain't see in your close proximity. You ever met somebody and you got close with them and you seen some shit you wish you didn't seen and fuck your whole vibe up about it? See, that's for having fucking Sagittarius in the third house. See, this is a whole flip side too. That's what y'all need to understand. So you're analyzing everything in the opposite way. So it's no gift and curse. I mean, it's no bad or good thing. It's just a gift and a curse to everything. So there's gifts and curse. So everybody got gifts and curse. So even if a person had first house in Aries, still got a gifts and curse. They just, a person who got first house in Aries, I am. And so they are their personality. There are their personal issues and affairs. So that's, a lot of times that may be a more of a gift than a curse, but they still going to have gifts and curse. So instead of the Aries ascendant and the Libra ascendant, it may just play out like 65 to 70% positive to negative for the Aries ascendant. Then on the Libra ascendant side. You see what I'm saying? The Libra ascendant, it just may be like 55 to 60% positive. You know what I'm saying? From time to time, then you get what I'm trying to say. But for the most part, you know, you can flip it around. Like me, I'm a Leo ascendant. So Leo is I will. So if I got Leo in the first house, that's my personality. So I will my personality. I will my personality in existence. You know what I'm saying? My personality will shine. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes my personal issues, y'all see my personal stomach issues, sometimes that shine, you know, but for the most part, and my personal affairs. My personal affairs, a lot of times, I have a willpower into that in certain circumstances and situations. You know what I'm saying? So, in order, I don't know if I get center of attention from that, or I don't know. That's a whole different circumstance and situation. But it's all ringed around that, my personal affairs, and I will something in, or I will to be the center stage or attention, or however it came in the circumstance how it was supposed to be. Now, for the most part, like I said, let's say if you got fucking Capricorn first house. So you use your personality. You use your personal issues for something. For stability, or to use something else, or to be seen a certain way. You use your status. You use your personal affairs. You may use the people who close to you, the personal people, places, and things in your life. You know what I'm saying? So your second house will be Aquarius. So this will be the shit you know. So you know what you have to offer to the world. You know where you want to plant seeds at. You know what you value. You know what you don't value. You know what I'm saying? Your third house will be Pisces. So you believe your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? You believe everything you're familiar with, whether that's a person, place, or thing, gift, talent, or trait, or something you have learned along the way, or all things in your close proximities. So you could have somebody who's close to you that you're familiar with that's telling you a lie. But if you got Pisces in the third house, sometimes you might believe it. See what I'm saying? Or you may, depending on your own planetary alignment, you may have the ability to gift and gab and create imaginations for others in your close proximity that you're familiar with to make them believe something, even if you're lying or something like that. Basically, because here's another thing. When we talk about the houses, if we're not talking about the planets in the houses and we're just talking about your houses in general, then that's just the experience that that's just the energies that you're going to experience regardless, whether you're participating in it or a person, place, or thing is bringing that to you. But you're just going to experience that energy signature in that area of life regardless. So whether you're just relaxing at home, you know what I'm saying? Depending on the sign in that area of life, that's the energy. So, okay, home, that's dealing with the fourth house. So, you know what I'm saying? If you got a fire sign there, then that's the way you experience home. Whether you're relaxing and you're not doing nothing and other people bringing that fire energy to you, or you're getting up and planning to fire energies in the home. But regardless if you're participating or it's being brought to you, that's what you're going to experience. You know what I'm saying? So you could take this little chart and, you know, have a little fun with it and shit. And, you know, flight boss, bitch, goddamn air.